16,000 feet up in the Himalayas, there is a small lake that stays frozen most of the year. When the ice melts, it gives up its secret. Hundreds of human skeletons, bones of men and women, stacked by the dead of a place so remote it takes days to reach on foot. For 70 years, everyone agreed on how they died. Then scientists tested their DNA and discovered that the people in this lake should never have been in the same place at all. Some of them died 1,000 years apart, and one group came from the other side of the world. This is the lake the locals call cursed. Let's get into it. The place is Roopkund, in the Indian state of Uttarakhand, sitting at over 16,000 feet, more than 5,000 meters, in the shadow of one of India's most sacred mountains. It's a glacial lake barely 40 meters across. You could walk its edge in a couple of minutes. There are no towns up here, no trade route runs through it. The only reason a human being has any business at Roopkund is that the trail to it is part of an ancient religious pilgrimage. And yet, the remains of as many as 800 people lie in and around this tiny pool of meltwater. The wider world only learned about it in 1942, when a forest ranger climbed up here and found the shoreline littered with bone. For a long time, nobody could even guess how they'd died. Only that something had killed a great many people, all at once, in a place almost no one ever goes. The locals already had an answer, and they'd had it for centuries. The mountain above the lake belongs to Nanda Devi, a goddess. An old folk song from the region tells of outsiders who insulted her on their journey, and of a goddess so enraged she rained down death, hard as iron, from the sky. For generations, that was just a legend. Then, in the early 2000s, a team examined the skulls and found something that fit the song unnervingly well. Many of the dead had short, deep cracks in the top of the skull and shoulders, the kind of blunt wounds you'd get from round objects falling from directly above. The conclusion: a sudden freak hailstorm, hailstones the size of cricket balls, caught a large group of travelers in the open with nowhere to hide and beat them to death. One event, one storm, case closed. It was clean, it was eerie, and it matched the legend. The only problem is that it was wrong. In 2019, an international team of 28 researchers published the first ancient DNA study ever done on remains from India in the journal Nature Communications. They sequenced the genomes of 38 of the Roopkund skeletons, and the results didn't just refine the hailstorm theory, they demolished it. The dead were not one group. They fell into 3 genetically distinct groups. 23 of them had ancestry matching present-day South Asians, and even they weren't a single community, but a mix of people from different parts of the subcontinent. That part wasn't shocking. This next part was. 14 of the skeletons had ancestry with no connection to India at all. Their closest genetic match was to people living today in the Eastern Mediterranean, specifically around Crete and Greece. And then radiocarbon dating delivered the blow that ended the single storm story for good. The 2 groups didn't die together. The South Asian group died around the year 800. The Mediterranean group died around the year 1800, roughly 1,000 years apart. Whatever was killing people at this lake, it wasn't one storm on one terrible afternoon. It was happening again and again, across a millennium. And the closer you look at that second group, the stranger it gets. The easy explanation would be that they were descendants of the Greek armies Alexander the Great left behind in this region 2,000 years ago. The DNA says no. Those soldiers' descendants would show heavy mixing with local populations, and this group shows none. the data point instead to people actually born in the Eastern Mediterranean during the era of the Ottoman Empire, who somehow ended up dead at a frozen lake deep in the Indian Himalayas. Even their bones tell a foreign story. Chemical analysis of their diet showed they'd grown up eating almost no millet, a staple grain of the region they died in. These were not locals. They were not soldiers' descendants. They were a group of unrelated men and women from thousands of miles away. And there is no record anywhere of who sent them, why they came, or what they were doing at the one lake in the Himalayas where people keep turning up dead. So let me give you my read on this, and I'll be clear, this is interpretation, not proven fact. The pilgrimage explanation works neatly for the older Indian group. The trail to Roopkund is part of the Nanda Devi Raj Jat, a pilgrimage that still happens, and a procession caught by sudden brutal weather at altitude explains a mass death at 800 AD very well. But the head of Heidelberg's anthropology department, a man who literally wrote a book on that pilgrimage, has said the same explanation makes no sense for the Mediterranean group. Foreign pilgrims on a specifically Hindu Himalayan pilgrimage in 1800? That doesn't hold. So what does? To me, the most honest answer is the least satisfying one. We genuinely don't know, and the diet evidence is the reason I lean away from the romantic theories. People who grew up eating Mediterranean grains, dying together far from any trade route, with no surviving record. That reads less like explorers and more like a group that traveled here deliberately, for a reason that died with them. The hailstorm may still be the killer. Round object skull wounds turned up in the later group too, but how they died was never the real mystery. The real mystery is why a group of strangers from Ottoman-era Greece walked to the most remote lake in the Himalayas in the first place. And on that, every theory I find either ignores the diet, ignores the dating, or ignores the geography. Here's where it stands. The single biggest ancient DNA study of this lake answered the question everyone was asking. Were they all one group, killed at once? No. And in answering it, it opened a far bigger one that no study has touched since. What brought 14 people from the shores of the Mediterranean to die at Roopkund around the year 1800? And how many more like them are still under the ice, never tested? Several hundred skeletons are up there. Only 38 have ever been sequenced. What's your theory? Storm, massacre, a doomed expedition, something we haven't thought of? Tell me in the comments. And if you've got a read on the diet evidence, I want to hear it. Next time, we're going to a village in the Thar Desert that emptied in a single night and was never resettled. Subscribe so you don't miss it.